Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vitvishavahay. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Gently open your eyes. We will chant verses 68 to 72 of chapter 2. Tasmadhyasya mahabaho,
Tasmadhyasya mahabaho,
nigrihitani sarvashah,
nigrihitani sarvashah,
indriyanindriyarthebhyah,
indriyanindriyarthebhyah,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
ya nisha sarvabhutanam,
ya nisha sarvabhutanam,
tasyam jagati sanyami,
tasyam jagarti sanyami,
yasyam jagrati bhutani,
yasyam jagrati bhutani,
sa nisha pashyato muneः,
sa nisha pashyato muneः,
आपूर्यमाणमचल pratishtham,
आपूर्यमाणमचल प्रतिष्ठम्,
samudramapah pravishanti yadvat,
समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्,
tadvat कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे,
तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे,
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी,
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी,
विहाय कामान् यः सर्वान्,
विहाय कामान्यः सर्वान्,
पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः,
पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः,
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः,
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः,
sashantimadhigacchati.
Sashantimadhigacchati.
Esha brahmi sthiti partha.
Esha brahmi sthiti partha.
Nainam prapya vimuhyati.
Nainam prapya vimuhyati.
Stitva syamantakaalepi.
Stitva syamantakaalepi.
Brahma nirvana mrichati.
Brahma nirvana mrichati.
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So we have been seeing the deeper messages embedded in verse 70, wherein he says, Apurya manam achala pratishtam. Samudram apaha pravishanti yadvat. It is just as the rivers, the waters entering the ocean from all sides, from all quarters, but the ocean remains achala, unmoved. So does one obtain peace in whom the objects of desire enter. Na kama kami means not the desirer of objects. Now, last week I gave you one more subtle message with regarding Shantihi. See, when you take an intellectual approach, now you will read this as Saha Shantim Apnoti. He obtains peace. Apnoti means obtaining. So you will conclude that peace is something which you need to get. Throughout your life, you are constantly putting an effort to get something. You are constantly trying to acquire something or other from the world. Let it be wealth, let it be relationships, let it be success. Now, the great yogis are not saying that getting all this is wrong. They are only examining your life. See, whenever you want to improve something, first you need to make an objective analysis of that. See, most people, the mistake they make is they try to go for solutions without even understanding what the problem is. It is like you don't even know what the question is, but you are seeking an answer. That answer will not mean anything to you. It is only for the person who has understood the question, the answer will have any relevance. So that is why what these great masters are saying is that if you want to improve the quality of your life, if you want to become a better person, if you want to experience your life in a more positive way, the first and foremost thing which you need to do is to examine your life. And there are different levels of examining. You can examine your life in a superficial way. You can examine your life with a little more depth. And that depth can go on increasing. Now, here, he is examining yourself and your life in the deepest possible way. So if you also just go with the flow of this energy, you will be forced to become deep. If you merely intellectually approach these verses, you don't require the depth. See, either people approach the scriptures merely with devotion and stop with that, or they approach the scriptures merely at the intellectual level and stop with that. But who is the person who benefits maximum? One who has devotion, who also uses the intellect to analyze, but who doesn't stop with that, who penetrates using the yogic approach and absorbs the energy behind these verses. So the very construction of these verses is in such a way that if you want to eke out the deep messages, you need to become deep. The very process of absorbing the deeper messages, the sadhana, of the yogic approach will make you deep. That is the amazing thing about these verses. See, supposing a question is asked to you. Now, if the question is very superficial, and if you try to answer that, the answer will also be superficial only. But let us say the question is very, very deep, and you try to find the answer to that question. Now, in order to answer that question, you will also have to increase your depth. So throughout the scriptures, you find the masters making statements which are so deep that in order to unravel the deeper messages, you need to use the yogic approach, and that itself becomes a sadhana, and over a period of time you will start becoming deeper and deeper. There is a beautiful incident in the Puranas where sage Vedavyasa, he wanted to document the entire Mahabharata. So he wondered who would be the right person to write that. And then he thought Lord Ganesha would be the best person. He'd be able to write whatever I'm dictating. So he went to Lord Ganesha and requested him. He said, I want to document this Mahabharata and also through that give a lot of philosophy to humanity. This I have taken it upon as my karma yoga. So will you help me out in this? So Ganesha asked him, what do you want me to do? I want you to write. I'll go on dictating. So you just have to write. So this, what Lord Ganesha did was he broke one of his tusks and he wrote the Mahabharata as Vyasa dictated. Now before doing that, Lord Ganesha put a condition. He said, "O sage, if you want me to write, there is one condition, that is, you should never stop dictating. You should go on talking continuously. The moment you stop, I will also stop, and then I will not write any further." Now this was a very big challenge for Vedavyasa, because you can imagine the Mahabharata, they say that the original Mahabharata had around 4 lakh verses, and what is available to us now is only 1 lakh verses. That 1 lakh verses themselves contain every incident which can happen in our lives, So many stories. Someone said that he had made an analysis of all the movies which had come right from beginning, and he said every plot is there in the Mahabharata. Somewhere some story is there which has that particular plot. So powerful, it depicts the whole life, the good aspects of life, the negative aspects of life, and of course the Bhagavad Gita is there in the Mahabharata. So everything was presented in a practical way with deep messages. Now to continuously recite that was a big challenge for Vyasa. So Vyasa had to agree, because otherwise Lord Ganesha will not write. Why did he want Ganesha to write? Because he thought that Ganesha represents that positive energy, that success in anything, that auspiciousness, that fullness. So if Ganesha writes that, the energy which will be infused to that particular scripture will be very powerful. So Vyasa had to agree to that, but Vyasa was so intelligent that he said, "I also have one condition." So Lord Ganesha asked him, "What is your condition?" "My condition is, you should not write anything which you don't understand." Understand means full understanding. No, partially if you understand also, you should not write. So Lord Ganesha said, "Okay." And then he started writing. Vyasa started reciting. The very first verse which Vyasa gave, now Ganesha stopped writing, because the verse was so deep that it took time for him to use the yogic approach and unravel the messages, to fully understand and absorb the messages. So he had to stop. So when Lord Ganesha was absorbing and understanding the verse in the truest sense of the term, Lord Vyasa used to utilize the time to organize his thoughts, and he was ready with the next few verses. And then when again Ganesha was ready to write, Vyasa recited the next verse. Again Ganesha had to stop. So this is how they have depicted this entire incident. Now, to read it merely as a story now has no relevance to your life. See, you always have to see how is it relevant, how is it useful to your life. There is a very deep message behind this incident. They are actually dramatizing and depicting the yogic approach. Every verse is so deep that you just cannot pass through. And if you want to unravel the messages of the verses, you need to become very, very deep. You need to increase your depth and use the yogic approach. Unfortunately, the Puranas have become mere stories to people today, and there are people who criticize and say, what are these Puranas? They are just giving out such unrealistic stories. But actually they are not stories. They in every incident, in every Purana, there are so many messages. See, the same messages are given in the form of life incidents. There are different ways of communicating. See, even in the Sunday discourses, sometimes directly the principle is given. Sometimes certain things are explained to a certain extent, and then to that extent where it triggers your thinking, the remaining is allowed, is left for you to think and discover. Sometimes certain examples are given. Sometimes certain stories are given. Now, different ways of communicating the depth, communicating the deep messages. So if you leave the messages, then whether it is a story or whether a poem is given, whatever, whether an example is given, whatever it is that is given is meaningless to you. So this particular verse is a classic example of that, where he gives the he draws the parallel with the ocean. He says a sthita prajna is like an ocean, and the waters which enter the ocean are the objects of the desire, the objects which the world has to offer. Now, the very goal of this entire study, the various sadhanas which you are asked to do and all that, is to become a sthita prajna, is to reach that state of perfection, to become one with the infinite. So when he compares the ocean with the sthita prajna, you should immediately identify with that. I am like the ocean. That is why for the last few weeks in the nidhyasana meditation after the discourse is over, I have been introducing that thought in your deeper minds, that I am the ocean, I am samudram, I am paripurna, complete. So don't think that he is talking about some sthita prajna when and then he is giving an example of an ocean. Now this whole thing is for you to get transformed. So directly now personalize this. So if you take the ocean, what are the different aspects of the ocean? I am now going to give you some more subtle messages. See, every week, little by little, this wisdom is being given to you, because you cannot absorb everything at one go. So if you take a samudram, now that is a perfect example of your personality. he is no doubt comparing the Chitta Prajna to an ocean. But as I told you, you are the person who has to get transformed into a Chitta Prajna. So you need to understand how the example of ocean is applicable to you, to your personality. So if you take the ocean, now at the surface level, you find that there are a lot of waves, the ups and downs. The waves keep on going up and going down. But all that is at the surface level. Now, as you start going deeper and deeper into the ocean, the turbulent waves are no more there. If you go very, very deep inside the ocean, there are no waves, nothing. It is just complete tranquility, quietude, shanti, peace. Now it is the same thing with respect to your personality also. If you see the surface of your personality, it is exactly like the waves. It is in a state of agitations. The ups and downs, you're constantly tossed about. You have a lot of mood swings. But as you start going deeper and deeper into your personality, the turbulence which is present at the superficial level disappears. That is why anyone who goes deep into meditation, see, when we say going deep into meditation, meditation is not an external process. Meditation is nothing but relaxing and delving deep into oneself. So, meditating deeply means going deep within yourself. So, the more deep you are able to penetrate and go, to that extent your experience in meditation will be deep. If you are leading a very superficial life and then if you try and meditate, you will not have such a great experience. When you go to a master, how is it that your mind calms down? How is it that you become meditative? Because he is operating from the depth. So the moment you come and get connected with his energy field, now you also become very deep. You start going deep within yourself. And when you start going deep within yourself, your experience in meditation becomes so deep and profound. So anyone who goes deep into meditation always says, what I experienced was peace. See, here it does not matter whether you're coming from a particular culture or whether you're coming from a particular country and all that. Any person, which means from any country, any culture, any religion, at any point of time, whenever they have gone deep into meditation, and as I have explained that when we say going deep into meditation, it means going deep within oneself, has always declared that what I am experiencing is total peace. It's like this. Anywhere in the ocean, if you go deep, what you will experience is nothing but peace. So your personality can be represented by the ocean. It is one of the classic examples. That's why I told you these yogis, these siddhas are geniuses. The way they they approach the whole thing. If we just don't bring in our preconceived notions and our limitations and just go along with these great masters, a total transformation will come to us. So at the superficial level, you're in a state of agitation, in a state of stress. And then when a master comes and tells you that you are actually a source of peace, you are unable to accept. That is why he has used the word saha shantim apnoti. You obtain peace. That is more easily acceptable by the mind. The mind is so used to obtaining and acquiring things from the world. If you are told straight away that you are the source of peace, immediately your mind will reject it, because your experiences, you are not a source of peace. You are a source of agitations. Constantly your mind is going through various fluctuations. The pairs of opposites, Sometimes you are excited, sometimes you are sorrowful, you're depressed. You get angry, you become very jealous, you experience fear. So many ups and downs are what you are experiencing. And then if it is said that all these are an illusion, what you are is nothing but peace. Now, how will the mind accept? So the masters understand that your experience is different. So they introduce this concept by saying, if you do this, you will obtain peace. So initially your understanding also will be that, oh yes, I am able to accept this. I am agitated today, I am in a state of stress. Now slowly I will obtain peace. But your approach will be again external only. But at least this idea has been put in your mind. And then they've also given this example of Samudram, and which contains all the deeper messages. And they say you are like the ocean. So when you start using the yogic approach and when you penetrate into that example, now you begin to understand what they are truly trying to convey. So your personality is like the ocean. When you are at the surface level, you experience the waves, the ups and downs. You are constantly tossed between the pairs of opposites. Lord Ganesha's act of breaking one tusk to write itself is very symbolic. The two tusks actually represent the pairs of opposites. Joy, sorrow, heat, cold. Like this, if you see, the world is full of pairs of opposites, and you are caught up. You are tossed from one extreme to the other extreme. Now, breaking one tusk means going beyond the pairs of opposites. The pairs of opposites are referred to as dvandvas in the Sanskrit language. And that is why, Ganesha was called Dvandva Atita, Dvandvatita. Dvandva Atita means one who has gone beyond the dvandvas, one who has gone beyond the pairs of opposites. So breaking of the tusk represents that. Children keep asking these kinds of questions. Now, why is Ganesha's tusk broken? Parents don't have answers. It's only when you use the yogic approach, you begin to understand the deep messages which these great masters are giving through apparently simple stories. Even a child can understand the story part, and a deep sadhak can derive the true messages from these stories. It is amazing. So you go through the ups and downs when you are at the superficial level. But remember, you are the samudram. So you are living in an illusion that you have to seek peace. That is why you are acquiring so many things from the world. Your attempt to get anything is driven by this desire for peace. You want peace. But now, by giving the example of the ocean, he is turning you inward. He is now giving a different direction to your efforts, to your actions. Now, instead of looking out, now he is asking you to look within yourself. At the superficial level, you may be agitated, but when you go deep within yourself, what is there is complete peace. So saha shantim apnoti means that person is experiencing peace by going within. So here is a sadhak. Saha means a sadhak. Kami means one who is caught up with the external journey. He is constantly trying to seek peace outside. He is trying to obtain. See, apnoti means getting, experiencing. The deeper meaning is experiencing within, not getting from outside. A kami is one who is trying to obtain peace from outside. Now, a sadhak is one who is trying to experience peace from inside. There is a world of a difference between these two. No doubt, both are having peace as the goal, but one is moving away from peace with the hope of getting peace, and the other one is actually going nearer and nearer to the bottom of the ocean, and he starts experiencing peace. So initially the message was given to you that your goal is peace, but that is not the whole truth, as I was explaining last time. Because your mind is so used to fixing external goals that it doesn't even understand what is this internal process. This wisdom can be given very gradually only. So just by exploring the ocean, you can actually start exploring yourself. When you understand this word samudram in its depth, you begin to understand yourself in depth. This is the yogic approach. Why are we spending so much time week after week on these verses? One particular verse we are taking and really spending a lot of time. Why? It's easy to pass through. But then when you pass through the verses like that, it is like covering the length of the ocean. You will not go to the depth of the ocean and experience peace. So, there are two aspects which I'm going to explain to you. Now, it's very difficult to put it in words because the infinite has, as the name itself suggests, it has infinite dimensions. So, our mind wants to fix, our minds want, they want to get fixed in a particular concept, in a unidimensional way. So, the sadhana is, is something like this. See, when we talk of the infinite peace, there are two ways of looking at it. I told you, at the superficial level, there are the waves, and then at the deepest level, there is nothing but peace. So, if you take your personality as it is, at the superficial level is your physical body. So, when you are attached to the physical body, now everything which happens to the physical body now will happen to you. When I say you, I mean the consciousness. When your consciousness is stuck with the body, with the physical body, now everything which happens to the body and everything which happens outside in the world will start affecting you. Then when you go a little more deep, you have your pranas, your pranic body. Now when the moment you reach that, your base level of peace will increase. See, that is why he is carefully using the phrase achala pratishtam. Pratishtam means getting established. So as you go deeper and deeper within yourself, you will start getting established in peace. What does it mean by saying you get established in peace? Your base level of peace will go on increasing. So by its very nature, the pranic body is more peaceful than the physical body. So when you penetrate and start experiencing your prana sharira, you will experience more peace. In the prana tattva level 1, that is what we are going to do. We are going to explore the pranic body and you are going to get a first-hand experience of that and get established in that. That is why 22 days have been given. And then when you go further and further within you, you have the manomaya kosha, the emotional body. Now, when you reach up to that level, your base level of peace will increase further. And then the wisdom body, your peace will increase. Your bliss body, your peace will again increase. As you start penetrating and getting established in the deeper layers of your own personality, you will find that the shanti will go on increasing. And then when you go very deep and get established at the jivatma level, which is the conditioned consciousness, individual consciousness, soul, individual soul, the level of your peace will increase tremendously. And then when you go deeper and deeper and deeper within yourself, when you get established with the infinite, that is when you become a sthita prajna. You will experience infinite peace. So this is the inward travel, moving through the different layers of your personality. So when he says a sthita prajna is like the ocean, It means the person who has delved deep into the ocean and gone to the depth. Such a person is called a Sthita Prajna. Now that doesn't mean you are not an ocean. You are also the same ocean only. But you are at the superficial level. A Sthita Prajna has gone deep. So if one person can go deep, why not you? You know, they say that external travel is very easy. The inward travel is the most difficult one. Yes, that is no doubt true. As long as you are caught up with the waves, the inward travel is very, very difficult, the inward journey. But the amazing thing is when you do sadhana and you start increasing your inner powers with the grace of the Guru, you start advancing spiritually, you will find that the inward journey becomes very easy. It is because of a long-standing habit of being superficial that you're finding this difficult. Meditation is actually a very simple, natural process of just being yourself. That's all. But just to be yourself without any conditioning, without any limitation, is very, very difficult to you today. Why? Because of the long-standing habit which you have developed. Many, many janmas, many, many births you've been living at the superficial level. That is why you require the help of an external guru. You need to receive this wisdom very, very carefully. You need the various dikshas, the various empowerments to get pushed within, Literally, it's like taking a person, pushing that person under the ocean. Similarly, with this higher Shakti, higher energy, the master pushes the student within himself or herself. And that process will be uncomfortable because you're so used to living at the superficial level. But once you start experiencing the peace which that inward journey offers you, then at every level you will find that the peace will go on increasing. So this is one way of looking at it, going deeper and deeper into your personality. Now, as I told you, the moment we talk of the infinite, it means it has infinite dimensions. So I'll give you one more dimension with respect to sadhana. There is another way of also reaching the depth of the ocean. One is the physical body, the prana sharira. Then you have the manomaya kosha, the wisdom body, the bliss body, like this, you go deep. The other way is, if you can imagine the physical body, the prana sharira, the mind, all of them next to each other. See, this part you may find it a little difficult because you're so used to thinking in a unidimensional way. If you really want to progress in spirituality, you just go along with the flow of what these great masters are giving. You will find that, you may find it a little difficult, but that's why you need to be very flexible. So one is you stack them one below the other and you go deep, you reach the infinite. The other is, if you can visualize all these things like the body, the pranas, the mind, the wisdom, the bliss, all these things next to each other. And each of these aspects have the depth. And what is at the deepest point of any of these aspects is the infinite. So if you take the physical body, if you look at it from outside, that is the superficial layer. Now if you go deeper within, you start experiencing more peace. This is what I made you experience in the Kaya Tattva empowerment, the 22 days ancient secrets of health. You know, the 21 meditation, 22nd day also the balancing meditation was done. So the 22 meditation sessions were designed to penetrate just the physical body. So first you experience the external parts of the body in meditation. Then, you know, where the higher Shakti was invoked, the empowerment was given for you to become more and more meditative, so that you start exploring your own physical body. So we went from the external parts to the inner organs, and then to the tissues, the cells, the atoms, the subatomic particles, and the empty space. So just the physical body itself, if you take, it is very, very deep. And what is lying at the deepest layer of the physical body? It is the infinite. Remember, the infinite by its very nature is present everywhere. That's why I gave you the example, if you remember, of climbing up the staircase, you know. So every step is made up of the same cement. Now if you want to understand cement, initially you walk up the steps and go to the top floor and see, this floor is made up of cement. But once you have understood what the cement is, now if you penetrate each and every step, what you will get is the same cement only. So in the Prana Tattva level 1 empowerment which we are going to have, the same process we are going to use with respect to the the pranic body. We are going to now go deep into the first few layers of the pranic body. You will find that experience will be mind-blowing, that cannot be expressed in words. A yogi has this capacity to penetrate and experience the infinite in anything. So two distinct approaches. They look different, but in effect they are one and the same. That is penetration, going deep within. So one is taking your personalities and stacking them one below the other, and you do the meditation and go deep within. Other is taking just one aspect of your personality and going deep within. You will start experiencing the divine energy. Now in the yogic approach, all these methods are being employed. Whether the Sunday sessions, in the Sunday sessions, a lot of preparation is done. But if you see the empowerment courses, these methods are only employed. These are all traditional yogic methods which our great siddhas, which the great holy masters, they have given to us. And when we employ those methods, any way you approach, what you will experience is only the infinite. So when he says samudram, it is a very, very deep word. He's talking of yourself only. Whether you take yourself as a personality in the sense of different aspects, one below the other, and then you go deep within, that is a samudram. Or if you take any one aspect and go deep within that, that is also the ocean, samudram. So this part you will be able to grasp only if you remove your unidimensional way of thinking. That is why I keep saying, when you attend these Sunday discourses, just set aside all your preconceived notions and absorb whatever is given fully. Once you absorb everything, then you compare them with your ideas and concepts. You yourself will begin to understand, So, apuryamanam achala pratishtam. The deeper you go within yourself, you will start getting established. Pratishtam. Pratishtam means getting established. When you are at the superficial level, you will not be established in that peace. So there is no necessity to seek peace anywhere outside. It is there right within you. And it is not only there right within you, it is an aspect of you. You are that. Tat tvam asi means that thou art. Aham brahmasmi means I am that supreme infinite Brahman, that supreme infinite peace. That statement is very simple, but to absorb the energy behind that statement, it is a lifetime process. Sometimes it takes several lifetimes also. The seed of a banyan tree is so small, but imagine the power of that one small seed, it can become a huge banyan tree. That is how these words are. When you say samudram, when you say achalam, pratishtham, each word is so powerful. And what is being done every week during the Sunday sessions is through various methods, somehow, many attempts are being made so that you start absorbing the depth of these words. Week after week, what is being done in these sessions? I'm trying to make you absorb the deep energy behind these words. Even if you absorb the energy of one word, whether it is samudram or whether it is achalam, whether it is shanti, that can completely transform you. And you're all so fortunate because the yogic approach is being revealed to you, from all angles, without the time pressure. See, the same thing if we keep a deadline and if we say we need to finish this verse within so many days, or we need to finish the entire chapter of the Bhagavad Gita within a week, now we will have no time for the yogic approach. Yogic approach is possible only when there is no time restriction. Because whenever you want to go into the depth, you need to be very spontaneous. You cannot externally fix a time and say within that time I will go into the depth. That is why even during the meditation time and all, when we do the nidhyasana, if I find you absorbing the energy more, I just allow it to go, even if it extends, beyond the stipulated time which we have fixed for the session. See, whenever we do the sadhana using the yogic approach, we have to give that buffer. That is the only way. So each word has so much of power. It's like a banyan seed. It is up to you to convert the seed into a tree. These sessions are there to help you. So now, just look at the verse. These words, Achalam, Achala Pratishtham. Getting established, being unmoved, Achalam. And then Pratishtham means getting established. That is what I had explained to you today. Samudram means ocean. Few weeks back when you had read this verse, your understanding would have been very, very superficial, limited. Now when you read the same verse, it would be it would be a totally different experience for you. Just this word samudram itself. Yes, Sita Prajna is like an ocean. You can just say that and pass off. But no. Now, so you also look at this word apuryamanam. Apuryamanam means filling from all quarters. So just as the waters come and fill the ocean from all quarters, that is the example he is giving. So here the waters represent the various objects which the world has to offer. So what you need to understand is that a Sthita Prajna is one who has that complete inner strength and tranquility to be able to experience everything which the world has to offer, and still he maintains his peace. See, this is a very important point which you need to note. The general concept of becoming peaceful is that you have to run away. See, people try to run away from the world, run away from the challenges with the idea of becoming peaceful. There is a wrong concept which people have that the world inherently is evil. The world inherently is something negative. Many people who say that money is evil, they really they have not grown spiritually. When people say that leading a family life is an obstacle in the spiritual path, I know many so-called gurus who say that. Such a person has not really gone deep into spirituality. There is nothing in the world which is per se an obstacle. It is how you relate to it. So the concept of spirituality has been reduced to merely physically withdrawing from all the objects of the world. So the more a person does that, that person is considered to be a spiritually advanced person. So he is smashing those concepts by using this word apuryamanam. Apuryamanam means from all quarters. See, if you take the ocean, the rivers go and enter the ocean from all sides. Similarly, a yogi is one who is like the ocean, and he experiences the world from all sides. Means every aspect of life you should learn to experience fully. See, today when you are functioning at the superficial level, you will experience all the aspects of the world only partially. You will have a lot of unfulfilled or unresolved issues in all the aspects of life. Life means whatever the world has to offer. A yogi is one who functions like an ocean. He experiences every aspect of life from all quarters, whether it is wealth, whether it is health, whether it is relationships, success in the work. Everything he experiences, but he experiences it like an ocean. He allows all the experiences to come to him, and he is able to absorb and digest everything. But he operates from the depth of the ocean. If you run away from the world, let it be any aspect. If you run away from that aspect, that will come and haunt you. A person who tries to run away from wealth will find that his mind will go on thinking about wealth only. A person who tries to run away from relationships, he will find that will become his preoccupation, that is mentally. This is a very important point which as sadhaks you need to understand. Whatever you're trying to run away from, whatever you're trying to escape from, that will come and ruin your peace. That is why he says a sthita prajna is one who is very relaxed. If the rivers come to him, he allows them to come. He doesn't resist the flow of the rivers. The ocean never resists the rivers, no. But it has so much of depth and strength that it is able to absorb the force of the rivers. So what is the sadhana tip there? The sadhana tip is when you face challenges in life, don't try to run away from them. Instead, expand yourself through sadhana and become like an ocean. Let all the challenges come into you. You will have the capacity to absorb all these challenges and you will be experiencing peace. This is the very goal of sadhana, to expand yourself. So there are two ways in trying to become peaceful. One is the worldly way, that is escaping from things. Either acquiring things with the idea of becoming peaceful, or escaping from the world, escaping from the problems with the idea of becoming peaceful. Unfortunately, that is what is understood as spirituality today. A person who gives up everything physically now gets a spiritual status. But remember, having a spiritual status is one thing, but being truly spiritual is another thing. So if you go behind the world in order to become peaceful, that is also a futile exercise. If you try to move away from the world, if you try to escape from life with the idea of becoming peaceful, that will also be futile. Both these approaches are not spiritual approaches. Then what is true spirituality? It is expanding yourself and becoming like an ocean. Apuryamanam, and then allowing the world, the objects of the world to enter you. Means, see, this is a very dramatic and poetic way of putting it. It means you allow the various life experiences to enter you. You experience everything in life like an ocean. So the sadhana with respect to apuryamanam is expansion, self-expansion. Today your self is conditioned, is limited. Now as you go on expanding yourself, your inner powers will start surfacing. In every empowerment session, what does a master do? He helps you to expand yourself. Let your personality go on expanding. You should become so deep that you're able to digest anything which the world has to offer. Such a person is a true sadhak. So on one hand, if you are caught up in the worldly pursuits in order to obtain peace, there also you're moving away from peace. On the other hand, if you try to escape from your responsibilities in life, if you try to run away from the problems of life, there also you're moving away from peace. Which is what Arjuna was trying to do. For 13 years when he was preparing, he was running after the war with the idea of becoming peaceful. And suddenly when he faced a situation, he went to the other extreme. He wanted to shirk his responsibilities as a warrior with the hope of becoming peaceful. Now Krishna gives him the wisdom and says, Apuryamanam Achala Pratishtham Samudram. You should expand yourself, Arjuna. You're moving from one extreme of chasing the world for peace to the other extreme of wanting to shirk your responsibilities and run away with the idea of becoming peaceful. Both these approaches will not make you peaceful. And yet, that is what people are doing all the time. So now you change the approach. Go deep and absorb the energy of this word Apuryamanam. That is from all quarters. So unless and until you focus on self-expansion, how can you allow the waters to enter you? So every aspect of life teaches you something. It enriches you, provided you do your sadhana, you make use of all these sessions every Sunday, which are being gifted to you, and all the empowerment sessions, where the deeper sadhanas are taught. You use all these and expand yourself. So I'll stop with that today. We'll go into more depth in the coming weeks. So many messages are there, so much is there actually. Today in the meditation, we will also do apart from the samudram, that is, I am the ocean, I am unmoved, I am untouched by anything and all that, we will also do the sadhana of Apuryamanam. That is, I am like an ocean, I expand fully and I allow the life experiences to flow into me. I don't resist anything, I don't run behind anything also. I experience life as it is. I will install these principles in your deeper minds so that you'll be able to practice that. Okay? So before we do the meditation, I'll just take up a few questions. This one is actually not a question. This is a point which Krishna Prasad ji has mentioned in the YouTube comment section. This is something which I wanted to bring to the notice of all the sadhaks because it's a very useful point. What he has said is, Pranam Yogishri, I have brought myself to express myself. My earlier attempts to do so was not satisfactory. I stopped after a few attempts, feeling the words were hollow. I felt it was not, that is, a sadhak but a personality expressing to impress itself. Today, after hundreds of hours of weekly satsangs, empowerment sessions, and fairly regular yoga sankirtan sadhana, I feel I have made definite progress in my understanding as a sadhak. Your grace has greatly improved my life on so many fronts. Thank you, Yogishri. Eagerly looking forward to the Prana Tattva Level 1 Empowerment Program. I am with humility and joyfully conveying my gratitude and thanks for transforming my life. Now, he has expressed it so beautifully. So this is what I mean by, I was talking about going to the depth in terms of understanding yourself. So there is one small point which I wanted to bring to Krishna Prasad ji's notice and the notice of all the other sadhaks also. That is where he says that initially when he started expressing himself, that is putting his points, he stopped because he felt he was not doing it as a sadhana. It was more of trying to impress. That is a beautiful point. The only thing there is, you said I stopped this exercise because I felt I was impressing. That is what you should not do. The moment you become aware of your motives, it means you have started doing the sadhana. The whole idea of asking you to express yourself is to get a deeper understanding of yourself experientially. So when you keep doing the sadhana, whether it is this one or any other sadhana which is being suggested to you, when you do that, now initially you will find that you will not be doing it in a perfect way. You will begin to see a lot of imperfections within you in terms of attitude, in terms of your approach. That should not deter you from doing the sadhana. You should continue doing it. It's like all the dirt is coming out, your awareness is increasing, the higher grace will further flow, and the next step is the purification will start happening. If you stop it, that is, if you stop the action, now the purification will get delayed. See, only when the imperfections come out, you can handle them. If the imperfections are submerged within you, you will not even be aware of them. You will go about leading your life in a very superficial way, thinking everything is right. When you start seeing your own imperfections, that is the first sign of inner transformation. But there is also this danger. When you see your imperfections, you may get depressed, you may get stuck there. That should not happen. You should learn to see yourself objectively. That is where the deeper sadhana will help you to build your objectivity. So, this is a very wonderful thing which has happened to you, but the only thing is, I wanted to explain this principle to you, that any sadhana which you do, which is given by the Guru, is meant to increase your awareness, and you will find that whatever dirt which you have stored within yourself will start coming out. A simple thing like if it is said do seva, service. Now when the moment you start doing seva, you will find that the ego will increase. Actually the ego is not increasing, your awareness about your ego will increase. Every bit of this, every aspect of this wisdom will increase the awareness about something within you. It is like a game. So it is very, very important for all the sadhaks to not to give a break in your sadhana. Here you're talking about the sadhana of expressing yourself. putting down your points or saying thank you, whatever it is. But the same principle is applicable to all the other sadhanas also. Whether it is Yoga Sankirtan or whether it is a Kaya Tattva meditation which you're doing, or whether it is a Yoga Vishramaha every Sunday, listening to every Sunday discourses and doing the nidhyasana meditation, whatever sadhana it is that you're doing, that is bound to increase your awareness, and you will start seeing things within you which you had never seen before, the negatives and the positives. The fact that you're becoming aware of your negatives itself means the process of growth has started. So when that happens, you should be careful. There are two possibilities. Either you will stop the sadhana because you are unable to bear the force of the negativity, which shouldn't be done. The other possibility is you will get very depressed. You will get so involved with the negativities, you will become so highly self-critical. So there you need to practice objectivity. So objectively keep doing your sadhana. This is something which you have to balance. The mind wants to slip into one of the two extremes. And the real spirituality is in trying to be in the center. So I was very, very happy when I read your experience, sir, because it means you're truly doing your sadhana sincerely. That's why this transformation is coming about. I'm sure others also would have experienced similar things. But remember this principle. Okay? So the other questions we will take up later. Now we'll do the meditation. Sit in a relaxed way. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am becoming more and more divine. I am like the ocean, samudram, with every breath. I am moving inward into myself from the waves of superficiality to the depth of the infinite. I am in a state of achala. Nothing in the world can affect me. With every breath, I expand like the ocean. I have infinite powers within me. let the waters of life come to me. I am eternally in the state of Shanti. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes, rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So today we did the nidhyasana meditation and penetrated into these words like samudram, achalam, shantihi. And I'd also triggered this process of self-expansion. These meditations which I'm making you do, incidentally, will cause a lot of healing for you, and they are also preparing you for you to receive the higher healing Shakti, the empowerment energy during the Prana Tattva level 1. So you can imagine if this small meditation process is so deep, when we do the empowerment, that will be a totally different experience. So there is a question which has come regarding the Prana Tattva. I'll just take that before we end the session today. Dearest Yogishri, Hari Om, I have a question regarding Prana Tattva registration. My mother had attended some of the previous empowerment sessions. However, she passed away recently. Can I still register her name for this program, as I would like for her soul to receive the higher grace? If not, what if someone passes away after registering for the program? Please advise, and thank you again for your continued guidance. Sincerely, Shiva Krishnan. Now, this empowerment course is not meant for people who have passed away and all that. I'll tell you the reason. See, when you have this human body, that is when you can do sadhana. The moment the soul leaves the body, it cannot do sadhana till it acquires a human body. Receiving the healing energy is different. Empowerment session is different. Empowerment session also has the healing aspect, but the emphasis is on the sadhana aspect and going deep and evolving the consciousness. So for that you require the physical body. So kindly don't register for someone who has passed away and all that. At the same time, I understand your concern. You want your mother's soul to receive the higher grace. When you do your sadhana, including the empowerment session, a part of it will also reach your mother's soul because you are karmically connected to her. This is what is said in the Upanishads, If one person does sadhana, 7 generations above and 7 generations after him or her, whoever it is, will benefit. A part of the energy which you receive through your efforts, through your sadhana, will reach your mother, your father, your spouse, whoever it is. Now, what happens if a person passes away after registering for the empowerment? See, as I told you, the moment you register for the course, you're committed. From that moment, the course actually starts for you. So till that person leaves the body, they'll be receiving the healing energy. Whatever they can receive, they will receive. And it is a choice which they have made. But the sadhana part alone, they will not be able to do but the rest of the healing energy, all that they will receive. But here in this case, they have made a conscious choice of registering. Now when you register for a person who has passed away, you are making a choice for them, for that person. That is not good. So, is this clear? Even others, please don't register for those who have passed away. If some person is having some ailment, bedridden and all that, then that is different. You can, they're still with the physical body, so you can register for them. But ensure that you just mention it so that special healing will be given to them. But these sadhanas, the empowerment courses, all these are, they involve a lot of effort from the sadhak side. It is not passive healing. So remember this. See, when I said even the womb the child received, the mother who was, there were several mothers who had registered the unborn child, for the course earlier. And I found that the child received the empowerment. There also, the soul has already formed the body. The body may not be fully developed, but it has taken the human birth. That is why it is able to receive the empowerment. So be very clear and don't worry. You take the empowerment. Your ancestors, the souls of your ancestors are also going to benefit. In case they have taken another birth also, this energy will reach them. So it is only through your personal sadhana that you can do good to those who are living around you right now and those who have left the physical body also. Okay, I think I've made it very clear. So all the sadhaks, you would have received the preparatory sadhanas. So do the morning sadhana, the audio has been sent to you. Do it in the morning. And then in the night, you read those statements, energized statements, and do the deep breathing. Connect to the Guru, connect to the Guru Shakti and the higher Shakti. You will find a lot of energy flow happening. And also keep writing your goals. See, this preparation which I'm doing for you will cause a lot of healing, and it will really open up things for you to be able to receive the empowerment energy. Okay. So any other clarifications if you have, do send them regarding the Prana Tattva level 1 empowerment. I'll be quite happy to clarify all your doubts. Okay? So thank you very much. We'll meet in the next session. Hari Om.